What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am BDLM, coming to you with my buddy J4Y on episode 21 of this Dota On Demand podcast. What's going on, buddy?
Everything. I actually normally say nothing's going on, but you know what? I feel like being the opposite today. I want to say everything is going on. You know what? We made everything go on for this episode, and that is why it's going to be such a stellar episode. But enough about me, sorta. How are you doing?
I'm doing... I have a 30-page article I have to finish reading tonight, and then write a paper on it to turn in tomorrow. But priorities, am I right? So here I am tonight doing this.
Absolutely.
This has been an awesome week. We hit episode 20 last week, obviously. We got the most views on an episode in a week at like close to 180, which is fantastic. Thank you all. And we hit 20 subscribers. Also amazing. And we got viewer questions, which we're going to be answering on this episode.
Yes.
It's going to be fantastic. Also, announcement to make. You guys out there are going to be getting some additional bonus content. Every week, me and J4Y are going to be coming to you with hero breakdown type deals. We're going to be going back into heroes that have already come out and go over, just basically how to play them, how to kind of make use of those heroes. And not only that, not just show you the kind of generic hero guides that you might get other places. We're going to show you the lineups those heroes have appeared in. We're going to show you clips from games where they've been really useful and how they've been useful. I was going to let you say all that, but I don't care. I was that excited. It was just like...
It's not rolled off the tongue. That's just what happened.
Oh, it just came out, man. So excited.
You came out. Well, okay. Everyone does it eventually. But, no, it is going to be really exciting. And honestly, that's the great thing. We're not, we obviously understand that we are not professional caliber, so that's why we're going to absorb all this knowledge we've gained from watching the professionals over time and showing you those clips and kind of roll that in with everything we've learned and watched. And it's really going to help out people that are not really experienced with these kind of heroes, and that's the whole idea, and I realize a lot of people are relatively new to the game since it's still in beta. Most of the people are a lot of people joining are like, what is Dota? I don't even know what Dota is. And so hopefully this will be a great thing for everyone to have a good time and learn a little something or other, But we haven't figured out the name officially. That's in the works.
In the works.
But
yeah, the first one should come out within the next 7 days. I'm not going to tell you who it's going to be on.
TM.
We'll give you a hint. It was a hero that was important to episode 6, I do believe. A hero that you should all be familiar with if you've been following the professional scene as well. So just leave a little beta out there, let you go back and take a look at some of the our older stuff. We're actually going to start this cast with some my forte. Last week, Jay got to drop some economic terms on you.
I sure did.
We get to look at pretty pictures this week.
Oh,
so
let me set that up. Oh, we also didn't explain
buddy?
how this is a new format we're trying out this week. I'll go into it. Did a little extra work on the side this week. We need to. I want to step up our game a little bit, see what goes on, see if people. I got one feedback comment that was like, as pretty as your guys' handsome faces are, which they totally. That's how they started out the wording. They're like, I wonder if there's other things you can, like visual aids or something else we can watch during the cast. I'm like, that's not a bad idea because it is a relatively long cast. And if you are watching this YouTube, which a lot of people do every week, it wouldn't hurt to give you guys a little visual stimulation besides ourselves. Maybe that was the best way I thought it was. Okay, wow, that was not the stimulation I was looking for.
Sorry.
I'm going to stop saying that word before this gets out of hand. This is not DoD After Dark. I have to keep reminding me. It's not that episode yet. Anyways, the point is, so we're going to give you some things you can watch on the screen while we're chatting about it, and hopefully, that'll make this a little more relaxing and awesome to watch. So, that said, let me see if I can do this. This is my first time trying out all these crazy, funky crazinesses.
I believe in you. You can do it.
Even the hots of the cards. I did it. Wow.
You did it?
That was actually not so bad.
You're so good.
I think we switched sides, though. But that's okay. Now, whoa.
Excellent. Well, we're going to start off, actually. I mentioned a couple weeks ago this nice little Dota 2 Wiki website. We'll show you some of the updates to, the game files. And so you can actually see some of the portraits, as they're being worked on, as they're being updated and stuff. So I was thinking, you know what? We have 4 new concept arts for heroes, or I guess working models or portraits. we can take a look at and just like see how cool they are, and just go over how heroes of changing from Dota 1 to Dota 2 instead of just in the functional way we typically talk about them. Get to appreciate some of the art.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so on this first page we have Chaos Knight and Meepo. What are your opinion on the work coming along on them so far?
I mean, it definitely appears to be kind of more in the rougher stages. It's not really smooth detailing yet. It's still kind of a little, almost like soft pillowy look to them, if you will. I don't know, like kind of like those plush like toys or something. That's how I'm kind of like. I could go to a kid's store and buy like one of those Chaos Knight dolls and put them on my pillow. Not that I have dolls on my pillow, because I grew out of that phase like 3 years ago. So, no, I think the overall. Well, okay, I'll start with Chaos Knight. I think that's pretty decent representation from the get go. You can tell he's got some really like broad shoulders. He's this big dude with the horns, so he's obviously going to be kind of badass. But like I said, since it is kind of like this soft plush look to me, like. He doesn't seem like this fierce guy yet. He still kind of seems like this, like, I'm gonna come in on my horse and serve you some mead. I don't know. He doesn't seem like a warrior yet, to me.
There's gonna be like a nice little rainbow animation behind his horse as he runs around.
No, that's Heroes of New Earth. Are we gonna take that from Unicorn? What was it, Unicorn Rampage or something? And every time he charged, it was like Spirit Breaker. Rampage was the Spirit Breaker guy. Every time he used his charge move, the rainbow would follow his path towards the enemy.
Yeah.
So
great.
If you wanted to see something a little interesting, I'm not going to use other words to insinuate anything. Interesting, then that is the hero you should look up. But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on the initial, I guess, drawing?
It's looking like it's going to be cool. The way I always pictured Chaos Knight being in Dota 2 is I thought it'd be cool if he had if his armor was offset, or like he had one horn that was bigger than the other one, and he had like patchwork armor that was like really random, so it was chaotic. I mean, I guess it depends on, if it's art for a knight who is like entropy incarnate, or if he's like a knight who like played the numbers one day, like spent all of his money on lotto tickets, then didn't win, and he's like, crap, now I'm really poor, this sucks, I'm angry about it, chaos is terrible, and I'm going to bring it to all these other people. So he feels a little bit more like Lotto Knight than like my perfectly visions.
These skids could just, we write skids. We should be on the skid team, because we've already come up with at least a handful. I mean, honestly, it's that easy.
Oh yeah, well, Art Major, I'm just saying, Valve, if you're hiring this guy, he'll make little sculpture models. It'll be beautiful, beautiful. But he does look awesome so far. And yeah, I mean, we're going to look at Phantom Lancer and Brewmaster later. So looking at like their original stuff and how it got textured and updated, looks a lot better and stuff. So I'm sure the Chaos Knight is going to look sick later on. Meepo though, I'm like,
dude, that picture on the right is creeping me out just a little bit. Anyways,
yeah.
The original Meepo in the first place. I mean, he's this crazy little kobold in the first place. So
yeah,
how do you turn that into something appealing to the player base? That's the question.
Yeah, I suppose, but like the way he looks now, he looks like really sort of cheap. Like the gold tooth is the thing. Is just like makes, because he's Meepo the Geomancer, right? At least that was his name in Dota 1, right? So he's got that tie to like the earth and him being a little minor, like the little kobolds are. But it feels kind of cheap. Like, I think it'd be awesome if you looked like Golem from Lord of the Rings, right? But you made him like a little mysticy looking, because he gets the replicates of himself, and we always tend to think of, like, at least in pop culture references of cloning, like the clones being slightly deformed or whatever. So you can make him like dirty and kind of grungy looking like Golem, but give him some mystical power, because he's supposed to be a geomancer, right? Like,
maybe he glows in the dark. And we can't tell from a picture that it glows in the dark. And that, if you glow in the dark, that pretty much means you're a geomancer. I read in a book somewhere. So
yeah, well, you're in the caves, right? You need to see stuff. So instead of night vision, right, you just illuminate everything around you.
Hey, have you ever gotten Flash on your Jigglypuff? It's the same thing. Why do we keep bringing Pokemon back in it? I don't know. You were talking about lighting up caves, and that just... You remember Flash. Dude, and everyone, come on. It's just a common reference.
feeling obligated to put it on a Pokemon that I wanted to be worthwhile later on, but then it's like
That's the thing. It's like the most worthless move in the game probably, and it stays forever. So you're like, I'm gonna get this random Jigglypuff, just throw him in my lineup for the cave, and then be done with it.
Seriously, I think one time I caught a spare Zubat. Like, just because I wanted one, right? I wanted the Crobat, but I was like, I'm not putting it on my actual Zubat. Let's just get another one. Anyway. Yeah.
But, besides in my opinion, I mean, like I was saying, I think they were maybe trying to go with a more, like, interesting take on their Meepo. Like, they didn't want to make him a creature. They wanted to turn him into this kind of half creature, half whatever the heck that thing is right there. And actually, I noticed the ears. What hero is that also from? There's another hero that's already in Dota 2 that has those similar ears.
There are a lot of heroes that have elf ears. I noticed that Zeus actually has elf ears too.
Was I thinking of Zeus? Maybe
Ursa?
I was.
You're thinking of Ursa.
Oh,
Ursa.
I don't know. But yeah, you're right. A lot of people have those like bigger ears. I'm like, is that like just a standard thing in the world of Dota? Like, everyone's ears is kind of... Well, I guess if they have to hear pings going out across the map, I mean,
there you go.
How else are they going to react,
My question is, how does Bat Rider's bat fly around with all those pings, right? Like, he's doing the sonar, right? And all of a sudden, like, dude, I can't see. Shut up. Hold on. Let me get my bearing. Okay. Fly to the left. All right, I got this.
Indeed.
Poor girl.
Yeah, he does look a little cheap. I agree. The gold tooth. What is he gonna turn? Is he like he's a thief now? Is he a crook? Like I don't know too much about Meepo's backstory, but I didn't think it was like that kind of person. Like I figure, like who would be maybe like someone that's stealthy. Like if Nubian Assassin for whatever reason became a person, I could maybe see a gold tooth on him because he's like a in the shadows lurking guy. This guy has nothing to do with the shadows, nothing to do with like a sly person. He's just...
I don't know of too many G's that are just like wandering around in the tunnels,
Homie G's?
Yeah. No, yeah, like the gold tooth and the...
Oh, is that what you actually meant?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just being a little more urban.
Yeah. Again, maybe it's just like the thing where it's... I guess the Geomancer's technically a Dota 1 thing, and, they haven't added secondary names these heroes, so maybe they don't intend on it, so maybe it's just like a nice little reference to the fact that he's I don't know. But I think, like, a little crookedy old mage guy who looks like kind of dirty because he's the earth. I think would be.
You want what's his name? Patch from Charlie Brown? Patches. What was the name of that dirty kid that just had that dirt cloud following him around wherever he went? That's kind of what you want. That's what it sounds like, at least.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Moving on.
But I digress. Do you want me to head on to the next slide?
Let's do it. Yeah. These next two, Brewmaster and Phantom Lancer. Brewmaster actually just hit. We started this at 7:15. Mm-hmm. He got patched in at 6:45. So we'll probably be talking about him next week. But for now, let's talk about his fantastical little art. I mean, what do you think about Brewmaster?
Now, these guys look so much more farther along. Well, obviously Brewmaster is because, he's in the game right now, or at least on the test server. But, I think Brewmaster in particular, he's an interesting, very interesting take. I didn't know what to expect since the original was a panda, if they were going to keep that. Because, sometimes they do, like, almost exact, like, replications of the original heroes, and then sometimes they go in this completely different direction, like Lycanthrope, for just example, how crazy different he is than the original. Even Lone Druid's pretty different. Like, some of these heroes are just definitely a lot different than the original models. But this one, it looks like they wanted to keep it animal-like, but definitely change... Oh, I forgot to mention Storm Spirit. He is...
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, he was the other panda, right?
Oh, true, yes.
So,
actually, there's 3,
I remember,
including Ember Spirit.
Oh, yeah, that'll be interesting, too, to see what he becomes. But yeah, actually, when we were playing World of Warcraft, like one Blizzard employee mentioned in the forums or something, it's like, yeah, we can't really do pandas like we did in Warcraft, the games, because in Asia, it's like they're not allowed to have violence towards pandas, or like have imagery of that, or like killing pandas, so they stayed away from adding the Pandaren race to World of Warcraft eventually.
So they're not getting that expansion at all?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because that seems like a big
They finally are, yeah.
They'll just be like big block figures.
Yeah. I don't know. They're like the Minecraft block
Oh yes,
people.
exactly.
That'd be
Going
great.
with little mining picks. I don't know.
But yeah, so they might just be doing it like that. Like they are changing some of the names from Dota 1 coming to Dota 2 because they like didn't want to encroach on Blizzard or whatever. So maybe they're just doing it's like, better safe than sorry. No need to maybe offend anybody or make it so that someone might not want to play the game for whatever reason. So also you figure he looks like a badger to me, right? And of course for our subculture, badger is kind of a well-known thing. So I think it's kind of neat to have that.
Oh my gosh! So that just gave me a random thought. So if Gorgon keeps her like snake-like figure and he gets a kill on her, could there be some kind of taunt involved? Snake! Oh, you're dead. Oh no. Obviously, that's not gonna happen. But hey, just spitballing here. That's what we like to do.
Yeah, I actually just jumped into the test realm before this. And he's got like this cask under one arm. And he got this big stick that's chained to a small stick. He just beat people over the head with. Like he's got a really neat model, I think.
Is it like a flail almost?
Yeah. I guess that's probably a good way to describe it. Or like a nunchuck with 2 pieces instead of 3.
Oh,
that's probably the best way to describe it, I guess. Yeah, the Phantom Lancer. What do you think about this guy?
I think he's almost exactly the same. I mean, they really obviously liked the original model and wanted to keep that in a similar fashion. He really does look like a Na'vi from Avatar. Maybe with a little more age.
Yeah, he does, yeah. The original, though, the Phantom Lancer skin's from Final Fantasy X.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I can't remember the name of that.
That crazy dude?
His race, started with an R, I think.
Rikyu? No.
No, he never talked until the end of the game. Anyway,
he was a big guy. Yeah, I remembered. But yeah, no, you're right. Regardless, I think the skin looks really awesome. Obviously, they want, like I said, they wanted to keep true to what he looked like, and I'm really curious to see what they do with the lance, like how they model that weapon. I'm sure they're going to make that pretty epic looking. I would think so. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you think? You think that it was a good idea to keep it kind of in that same realm?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool how close he is without, looking exactly like him. It's a really good job of keeping in that same vein, but him being different. And just between both these skins, the texturing and the actual fur on Brewmaster is fantastic, and then just the amount of detail to make Phantom Lancer really look like if there was such a thing as a blue person lion. That's it right there, right? You don't get much closer than that. So I really, really like this. Kudos to the artist. I have to say, the one thing that I always make or break my opinion of an artist is their ability to draw breasts. Because if you look at most people that do it, they're these just, ginormous, they don't even fit right, one sitting on top of the other.
See League of Legends.
Yeah. And it's just actually one of our friends, Orange, if you saw him in any of the breakdowns, showed me a link to this guy's art, and I'm like, okay, it's cool, whatever. There's a picture of a girl where the boobs were almost perfect. One was a little out of perspective. I was just like, you know what? Now I like this guy because he can do it. So there you go. So I'm gonna have to keep looking through the Dota's skins now at some of the other ladies to see if they're actually done properly.
I thought I heard somewhere that people evaluate other artists on their ability to draw a rock or something. Where did I hear that from? But it's something simple. But they wanted to see if they could even handle drawing a simple thing in just really strong detail or really well drawn. I don't even remember where I heard that from, but I always thought that kind of made sense in some degree. But then again, art's just so crazy. It could go in so many different directions that how do you evaluate one thing on there's too many. That's why I also didn't understand how people there was even a Top Chef version of that. What was that? The Next Great Artist?
Oh yeah,
how do
by
you
someone
judge people on art? Art goes so many directions. It can only be really based on personal taste to a degree, really.
Actually, the article I have to read tonight is about this guy named Richter who does photorealistic art, and it's the whole article is this thing about how it's so close to a photo, but it's not a photo, and the photo does this, but the painting does this, and it's I have no idea what you're talking about, and this is my major. And I'm just scratching the head, and oh man, it's fantastic. But
nice.
Yeah, next we have the viewer questions. I think that's more than enough art for one day, and I'm an art major,
I know,
so
right?
that's the cutoff time.
Sounds like quite a sunken cost. I'm sorry, I just tried to throw an economics term in there and it did not fit. Just move along. That's okay.
The supply of art is greater than the demand.
Wow.
So we shall move on.
Wow.
Maybe I'm a triple major. Anyway, so on the viewer questions, you guys are welcome to submit questions. We've actually been waiting for a while, and it's so nice to have them.
Don't tell
thank you
people
guys
we're that
for
desperate. Come on.
We're not desperate. We appreciate it, right? We've just been sitting with our inbox, right, just hitting the refresh.
Come on.
Like every 5 minutes, and just like, but no, we got some. So you guys can reach us, of course, at email, Twitter, Facebook, the world, whatever, you know.
Little paper airplanes if you want to throw it through our windows. Just any of those methods really will work.
There you go.
So, all right, I'll skip to the first one then.
Go for it.
All right.
Lead us in here, my friend.
So this first question was by a gentleman, I believe, named Mazarin. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. Looks pretty right. And this individual wanted to know what the first hero we played was, and I will ask you that first.
You ask because you know. You actually got me to play Dota for the first time.
That's true, I did.
And I was like, who do I pick? Because there are 8 trillion heroes. And you're like, just go sniper. Just go sniper. And I still messed it up, despite the fact that this was headshot and what's the other one?
It's not take aim, because that's his ultimate, isn't it? Are we really this bad at sniper? Oh, no, it is take aim. It is take aim, because assassinate's his ultimate.
Oh, there you go.
I remember.
Yeah. And I still managed to mess that up somehow. Like, who do I buy? Wraith bands. What do I have that? Just get more Wraith bands because it doesn't matter. Right. So, yeah, but I think the first hero I actually picked, knowing what their abilities were and stuff, was Axe. Which is part of the reason, like, back when they gave him all those buffs and stuff and Tranquil Boost came out, I'm like, play Axe, because he's awesome and I love him to death. And Counter Helix was just the coolest thing in the world. But, yeah. What about you, buddy?
Mine was definitely Slayer. Definitely.
Slayer.
It's come back to me. I wanted to go with... I knew I wanted to play like a ranged hero because those are always usually the easiest to pick up, and you don't have to put yourself in danger as much. And so I was like, oh, she's pretty smoking. Why not give her a roll? Oh wow, gosh, I make these references all the time, and they just go way over my head. Like the bear thing. Forget it. I'm not even gonna try with puns. They just flow that well. So after, she's smoking. So basically, the game went okay for me. And when I say okay, I mean for a first game, it was like 4 and 10 or something. And all those 4 kills were probably all from Laguna Blade, I would have to say, from just ulting for kill steals, because that's all I knew how to do back then. I was like, oh, she's low. Just like, I don't care, 100 health, 400 health, doesn't matter. It needs to be cast regardless. And it was good times. And I haven't even played her once in Dota 2, I don't think. Which, you were talking about Sniper. I haven't played him once. Like, all these heroes I kind of started out on, I haven't gone back to my roots. I need to go back on, like, a mecha trip. And just, pick up Slayer, pick up a little bit of Sniper, toss in a dash of Omni Knight, and what does that formulate? Dude, I played a mean Omni Knight. A mean Omni Knight. I soloed myself. Well, that's how soloing works.
We don't need to hear about your After Dark stuff, okay?
No, I soloed lanes, farmed up that Radiance right away. I tell you, he was pretty unstoppable back in the day. But I digress. Alright, so I guess that was just our little quick answers there. Thanks for the question, though. We'll move on to one, hopefully with a little more meat to it. What are your thoughts on Zeus in the current meta by Drake? Who is the rapper, Drake. I just have to assume.
Oh, of course. We're that interesting.
He actually secretly has a Dota 2 career that he's been going with. I don't know if you've heard of this art style guy. That's Drake. That actually is, believe it or not. So.
Fact. You heard it here first, folks. So you want to take this first, or should I? You know what? No, screw you. I did a lot of research and stuff, going through all the games, figuring out where he got picked up recently, and really trying to go through the bans and the picks and stuff to try and figure out why Zeus is getting picked up. And I think the success of Queen of Pain recently is actually probably a really big reason that he got picked up. I mean, he is sort of similar to Quap in that the fact that he is just a cannon. He just does a ton of damage. He's really good at winning his lane. And if you pick up a 4-staff, he picks up some of the mobility he loses, or some of the mobility he doesn't have when you compare him to Quap, who has the blink, obviously. But where he doesn't have the blink, he just has a significant amount more damage. The other thing, too, is he has global presence, where Queen of Pain does not. And we actually, in the Infused versus U-Boat game, he gets picked up, and at 13 minutes and in about 17 minutes, you see instances where he drops his ulti to try and take somebody out really quickly. There was one instance where Darkseer and Night Stalker, I believe this is like the 13-minute kill, are behind the tier 1 tower, invisible. Night Stalker had an invisibility rune, and they decide to go for Sand King. And so the Void drops, Darkseer uses Vacuum, in comes the Zeus ulti, and he has like no health left. And this is between tier 1 and tier 2 tower, so very dangerous territory. Could have been very easy to reinforce that position to try and counter gank, but he got killed so fast that there was nothing the opposing team could do about it. And when you're running a team like they were, which had 2 tanky heroes, which means there's some kind of buffer between Zeus and his targets, and you're picking these heroes that are really focused on getting around to different lanes, to gank, to make a very chaotic style game. He's really good at that because he's always going to be there in the back of the opponent's mind, like, okay, I can't get really low because Zeus ulti is there. It's always going to be a threat. And where you might normally feel safe, you can't anymore, because if you get that Zeus ulti, one ganking hero might be enough to take you out. The other thing, too, is he's really good against everyone as far as his damage goes. He is, of course, really good against weak targets because his Lightning Bolt does a ton of damage. But the other thing, too, is because of static field, he's doing a flat percentage of your health, which means he can take out the tanky targets. In the MTW versus Empire game, the Zeus was going up against Earthshaker, Beastmaster, and Viper. So all these people who are pretty tanky, Earthshaker not so much, but he's obviously one of the tankier of the support heroes. So how do you deal with a Viper especially, who if you try and go an auto-attacker against him, you're going to get the corrosive skin. That's going to be a big problem. So you have to go the magic damage. And so again, you can just really take out these heroes quickly with a high damage nuker like Zeus. And I think that's probably, after seeing that, okay, Queen of Pain works really well, let's try somebody else who's kind of similar to that hero who can work in a slightly different game style. I think that's why he really got big.
That was a lot of thoughts.
Also,
really?
I can't wait for you to just be like, I think he got picked because he's blue. He got picked up in the backwards draft games where people were picking for the opposite team, the team they were playing against. But that was just because he doesn't have any kind of crowd control, of course. So you'd have to pick up like the Rod of Atos if you want to give him any kind of slow. So, we both kind of got to see why he's so good and also why he's, kind of not so good because he doesn't have any CC.
Did you want me to have anything to talk about this segment?
No, because I actually remembered one other thing, too.
Oh my gosh.
In the MTW versus Empire game, Zeus was last picked.
Okay.
After Viper was picked. So that's when you really realize, like, oh, okay, yeah, Beastmaster's here as well. I mean, they're really tanky and we can't pick an auto-attacker against them, so let's pick Zeus. But they had 3 other ranged and then Anti-Mage, who isn't really a tank. So Zeus really wasn't able to be that effective in that lineup because there was nobody to sort of be that buffer. So you consider Darkseer and Night Stalker. Night Stalker has the slow, which lasts forever if it's nighttime, and Darkseer can drag someone backwards. So if you're trying to go like right past the lines, like they're against a Morphling, so if Morphling tries to just waveform in, Darkseer can kind of suck him back further away from your back lines. So really gives Zeus some longevity in that respect. So he can sit in the back and do the damage like he needs to. Go.
You should take a breath.
I'm so excited.
Inhale and exhale. Remember that. It's important to do at times. Well, I obviously can't counterpoint anything you said because you said about an hour's worth of content. So I'll just go ahead and say my own thoughts, and then maybe some of it will have crossed over. I'm not sure at this point. I was kind of falling asleep towards the end. So, anyways, my 2 cents on Zeus. I love this hero personally, and it kind of goes back to watching a lot of competitive heroes of New Earth, is why I think he's actually being shown again in this, kind of reintroduced in this scene. Here's New Earth. The tri-lane was kind of a relatively not as popular thing, but it started becoming a super popular thing where the teams would tri-lane. So you would generally have all the farm on that one hero, and the other ones would be lower level. Like you even mentioned, there was one game where like a Lich was level like 2 or 1 or 2, like 8-9 minutes in the game because he was pulling, stacking creeps, and like things like that happen still, where there's a lot of tri-lanes or roamers, and there's still a lot of low level people. And the point is, when you have a hero like Zeus who gets to 6 really quickly, that ultimate at rank 1 does 210 damage globally. So imagine in a team fight, he can use Thunder God's Wrath, doing 200 damage. That's 1,000 damage right off the bat to the whole team. Plus the Stag Field if he has ranks in it. Plus his Lightning Bolt that does at rank 4 350 damage. One of the probably highest single target nuke damages in the game. It's only on a 6-second cooldown too. That's the beauty of it. A really low cooldown. Yeah. So basically, like you say, he's a huge glass cannon. He'll just provide this enormous amount of burst damage for your team. So as long as he doesn't get insta-gived in a team fight right away, he's going to dish out ridiculous damage. And I think that's part of the reason why you'll see him picked up is because against these like strategies where there's roamers or tri-laners and like people are there's a lot of these weaker heroes just because they're not in the lane game experience or whatever. They're still sitting around maybe 400 or 500 health when these team fights might start breaking out. They're already at half health because Zeus ultied, and now the rest of your team can clean up. Like, that's the great thing. Like, when you were playing in pubs with Zeus back in the day, you were like, oh, he saves it just to last hit and like get kills. Well, in professional games, they're a little smarter than that, and they might use it in the beginning of the fight, especially if he was near him, so that stack field actually applies, because any spell he casts will apply that static field, including his ultimate. So, like I said, if you could start a team fight with that, boom, half health, some people, yeah, that's going to definitely turn the tide of the fight. That's one reason. Now I have to think about the second one. I had it, and besides the fact that he's an awesome blue guy, I was thinking about Papa Smurf, like, very similar to that kind of role, if you will. Also, we have kind of seen Ricky picked up more and more, and he's not a counter or anything, but he is actually pretty effective against you like that for a couple of reasons. One, I believe it's 2 of his abilities provide True Sight, which is really helpful against any hero that goes invisible, but obviously Ricky is the prime one, and he's actually one of the only ones that gets used in the current game. But his ultimate, if a unit is invisible while he casts it, it does not damage them, but it does reveal them for 3 seconds. So let's say your team's chasing down this Ricky, and he gets away and he turns invisible, but he's so hurt and you almost can kill him. Well, Zeus can ulti from across the map. It didn't kill him, but now there he is for 3 seconds. Your eyes could finish him off or something. Or in a team fight, that same kind of thing. Like, it can be used for that reason or many others. And then also that lightning bolt, it also gives a 900 true sight range around it, as well as revealing the area of 1,000 range both day and night for 3 seconds. So if you can somehow cast that lightning bolt on someone from far away, you're going to give that 1,000 radius around it, so that's going to give you some more help in team fights. But I think the vision actually is pretty useful, I guess, when trying to initiate on certain people.
Late game you can even keep tabs on Roshan and stuff too, make sure they're not trying to sneak something by.
Yeah, you definitely sometimes see that Wrath used just purely for that reason, definitely, just to make sure, where are they? I have no idea where any of these people are, and our wars just died, and now, or if you use Zeus with Nature's Prophet, Zeus ultis, and then Nature's Prophet follows it up with his ulti, you maybe just insta-give someone in the woods that was just under half health trying to farm. Obviously, it's a testament to how powerful global abilities are in this game, which that's why there's only just a few of them right now in it.
Absolutely.
So
there you go. 4 cents.
2
cents from both of us.
I don't even know I think actually we just covered everything because we didn't touch on similar things.
Yeah, there you go. Pretty good run.
Thank you,
friend.
Drake, for that question. I'll be sure to buy your next album. or download illegally, whichever one happens first. So, moving along, let's go with our third and final question here. From you know what? I'll let you say one since I've read the first two. Go ahead.
Oh, well, thanks, buddy.
You're so welcome.
Mr. Skulder asks, I'm trying to learn the sport role better. Which heroes do you suggest I try and learn first? Well, my friend.
So
Actually,
he should have just said, "Dear BDLM."
You know what? Go ahead.
Remember,
Jay.
no. Go ahead and talk, but remember I'm here, so you could use me as like maybe a co-host or someone to talk to and discuss things with, rather than just a 20-minute block about your personal dreams and ambitions.
What if I'm so right that I don't need you though? I mean, that's the thing, right?
Great.
Anyway, fine. Be that way. I think probably one of the best supports, period, and also to try and learn the support role with is my personal favorite, the Crystal Maiden. Riley is a really good hero, just all around, and relatively simple to use too. Her Q ability isn't hard to hit, and you can actually use it to maintain a lot of control on the lane, and that's kind of one important role of supports, is you can use them to either strengthen your own carry in the lane, make it a more stable lane for them to be able to farm in, or destabilize the enemy lane. When you think about heroes like Vengeful Spirit, they can come in and gank and really try and upset the balance of the lane.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to...
Oh, about the Q? Yeah, you know what? I will cross-examine that.
Okay, all right.
I think it's a very great move in the laning phase, and that is why she is used actually quite often at times. And actually, I don't want to get too crazy about it, but the point is, some builds you normally focus on one of her other abilities first, but we've seen a lot more recently people focus this as her first ability to maximize. Just because of how much AoE presence it brings to the table for the team.
I mean, it's a good harassing ability. She's really good at harassing because of Crystal Nova. She's also good late because she's slowing attack speed as well as movement speed with a Crystal Nova. She has Frostbite, which isn't like a stun, but it does prohibit movement. It disables blink abilities and those types of things. Mm-hmm. So she has single target CC in that respect. She has Brilliance Aura, which is a global aura, which is just fantastic. So even if you don't win your lane, you're helping the other lanes to a certain degree. And this is an ability you don't have to cast, right? And then the ultimate is something that typically gets skipped until 10 and 11, unless you're getting team fights earlier.
Why is that?
Because it's random. It's not dependable. It does an amazing amount of damage, but it has the potential to literally do no damage. So you have to keep that in mind. You're leveling up. And of course, when you're level 6, you're probably not having enough team engagements that doing a lot of AoE damage is that important. Plus, she's so squishy that she will tend to die as soon as you start sending off, "I'm ulting, guys," and then you're just dead because...
It's like painting like a target on your chest and saying, "I'm ready." That's kind of what happens. And
I've grown tired of living.
Thanks for the FG reference. For those who have played League of Legends, imagine Gangplank's ultimate. It's the same kind of mechanics where it's a circle area, and it's random where the pulses of damage hit.
Did they change it?
It's less RNG now, but it's still the same mechanic. I believe it slows people when it hits them too. So that's the same as Gangplank as well. It's just random, like you said. It might do a ton of damage. It might do no damage. It's actually funny because I would also occasionally watch these like Dota 1 best of montages or whatever you want to call them, where they'd show these like amazing plays by people. And there's a couple where like these Crystal Maidens would just go in behind enemy lines, drop her ultimate, and get like a quad kill because like no one expected it. It's just like boom. And then there's other times where you'll use it like the guy right next to you beating on you doesn't get hit once, and you're like, "Excuse me, I'm channeling my ultimate here. Can you get hit once by this, please?"
It's like, I think it's funny because when I played Witch Doctor 2, and you have this like long channel ultimate, and you're kind of a squishy hero, you literally hit R, and then you go like this for like 6 seconds. You just cross the fingers, and then you just if it ends and you're like, wait, the channel so can I click? I can move now. Oh, all right, that's interesting. It's very strange. I'm used to just waiting till I res. That's neat. But anyway, so if you think about her, before level 10, she has 2 abilities. You have 2 buttons to hit. One of them is a massive AoE. One of them's a stun. Beyond the fact that that's just simple to do, it lets you focus on the stuff that you're actually supposed to be doing as a support hero, which is pulling, harassing, making sure wards are up at all times, keeping an eye on the minimap so you know that, okay, oh crap, there's a bunch of stuff going on at top. I need to quick TP up there so I can help them out, maybe try and turn the tides of a gank going up there. So heroes that are simple like that really let you kind of do what the support role is about, and that's sort of playing Big Brother, watching how things are going on, and making sure that you can be where you need to be effective. So go 1-1-1, and then have fun from there. Yeah, you know what? Crystal Maiden's actually going to be the second of our not yet named hero breakdown things.
Spoiler alert!
So, yeah. Well, you know, I didn't tell you what
you spoiled it for me. I didn't even know.
Now you do. So episode 2 will be the Crystal Maiden. So hang around till then, and you'll get some more.
The full
information.
beautiful picture from BDLM, and myself a little bit. I'll just roll the camera from afar, you know, and let everything work out. Yeah, I'm definitely a firm believer if you're new to a role or a certain type of thing, or even the game in general, to start on heroes that have guaranteed hit moves. And what I mean by that, for example, like her Frostbite. Her Nova's, I think, a big enough AoE so it's not too hard to hit, or the cast point is not really long, so it's a quick cast time. It's instant, I think, almost, pretty much, right? So pretty easy to land moves is what I'm trying to say. Unlike heroes such as Leshrac or Lee or Slayer, where their stuns actually you have to kind of wind up first before you hit it, so it's not a guaranteed hit at all. And so maybe, I mean, not that it's super hard, it's just kind of a learning thing.
Speaking of which, I love Crystal Maiden to death. Riley is the woman I'd marry, right? But Lena is like the one on the side, right? Because
of course she's fiery.
Lena is a hottie, yeah. I just redhead, right? And then like the face paint and stuff. Like, oh yeah.
I was just trying to make jokes about the heat thing again, but
yeah, no.
Now see, now that I'm trying, it doesn't work that well. That's the problem. Chance. I know. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Who, if the ladies of Dota were real, which one would you take?
Oh,
as the hottie of the game.
Well, besides Death Prophet.
Well,
because I thought that was obvious number one.
The Russian accent. I mean, and she'll do stuff, right? Because you're getting her green card, so you can be like, "Make me a sandwich." She's like, "No." It's like, "I'll send you home." Whatever.
Well,
is that just my experience?
That unfortunately, it sounds like that's the case. So I feel like if Drow wasn't so undead, I would totally be all over that. But I think Windrunner will be the choice for me. First of all, she's kinky. She has shackle shot. Let's just get that off the bat right now. I mean, if we're gonna throw it out there, I'm sorry, but she has two. She's a ginger, so you know that's another thing. And then Windrun, she's probably got her own thing to do the next day, so she'll just get out of your hair. You know, it's just gonna be a good time. And I mean, honestly, I don't see what's so bad about that. You know. Wait, what was the name of her ultimate? Oh, Focus Fire. I was going to try to make some innuendo, but that's...
No, you got 2 out of 4. That's pretty good.
That was pretty good, you know.
Yeah, I like it.
I could show her my power shot. That kind of works. Okay. All right. Whatever. Well, anyway, so that would probably be my selection. Thanks for the random...
I thought it was a good one, man.
It was.
I liked it.
That was indeed. So, for my choice, though, back to the question at hand, from Scalder. Scalder's like, excuse me, you've only said one hero. I'd like to hear at least 2, please. And it's weird because he sounds exactly like me. I don't know why our voices are that similar, but apparently that's the case. Wow. Regardless, I would go with Lich. That would be my newbie hero. And I will explain why right now. The reasons being, I think his kit is pretty simple to learn. Generally, the Frost Armor you can put on an ally, and it's really simple. It lasts a long time. You don't really have to worry about it. It's really simple to use. Obviously, you just throw it on someone, you're done. That ability is really good, easy to use, and it's really effective too because it slows the movement speed. of Heroes.
Yes.
It sure does, Jim.
It
sure
does.
I don't know why I had to draw it out like that. Oh, and the attack speed. That's what I was going with. Moving to attack speed. So anyways, really easy to use. His Frost Nova, and like I was going back to before, and I wanted to kind of tie it in again. Heroes that have abilities that are guaranteed hits are really, really nice for new people. Frost Nova, you click it on a target, so like the hero itself, and it'll hit. So really simple to use there. It's a really nice slow, and it does a good amount of damage, actually some AoE damage, which is really nice. And then Dark Ritual, I mean, this one could get a tiny bit tricky, but it's really not so bad to figure out. Basically, you cast on an allied creep, and it will deny them, it will kill them instantly, and it will restore mana to you based on how much of the health, current health that creep had. So, generally you'll use that really early to deny experience and gold from the lane, of the people in the lane against you. And then also you'll keep your mana pool high to keep spamming off your Frost Novas to harass the enemies. I know you have something to say, so go ahead and jump in.
It is called Sacrifice in Dota 2.
Why am I using Dota 1 wiki still? I have no idea why. The Dota 2 one is right there at my fingertips. And you know what? I'm switching right now. No, wait until my ultimate. I'm going to say the ultimate, and then I'll switch.
I'm just going to mess up the ultimate first, then I'll go back.
Is it called Chain Frost in Dota 2?
Yes.
Phew. Alright, well, Chain Frost, the ultimate. Now, the kind of knowing when to cast is the best, that is definitely a gut feel thing. But generally, it throws this orb at someone, and it bounces between that target and whatever other enemy creeps or heroes are near them, and it just keeps bouncing for a set number of times. I believe it is a certain number of times.
7.
That is 7. That's not even on here. Well, this site sucks. Oh no, it's right there. I'm just blind as a bat. A Zubat. Alright, you like that little Pokemon jumping? Alright, so, anyways, I will switch, don't worry. Right after this, I'm gonna, bird this site. Alright, yeah, but anyways, if you can catch a couple heroes by themselves, or even just one hero with one creep going back and forth, if you can bounce that really well, you will annihilate people in team fights, and that's why I love that ability. No matter how underfarmed Lich is, if that ultimate gets tossed into a team fight, it does insane damage. Unless they have a Pipe of Insight, then you cry in a corner just a little bit. But regardless, it is a pretty awesome move, and I think he's really simple to pick up. He really is good at harassing and playing that support role because he'll keep the lane where you want it, and he's not that difficult to use. I don't know, do you kind of agree with that a little bit?
Yes. Yes and no.
I know it's not Crystal Maiden, but
yeah, I mean, for simplicity's sake, I would probably just pick Crystal Maiden over Lich, especially because the ultimate does require a little bit of nuance, because you can mess it up, and people will rage face at you. But he's definitely a good choice. If you're looking for a good melee to pick, that's real easy. Tidehunter is probably the best way to go there. Just, I mean, not to go into that too far, but if you need to support a ranged hero, Tidehunter's pretty simple, pretty durable, pretty good way to go.
I would definitely not say Earthshaker as one of your first ones because people will get so angry at you if you put that fissure down and the enemy's on the other side of it. Oh, you will never hear the end of it. It just takes one in the beginning. Trust me, from my experience, I know it takes one bad fissure at the beginning of the game for your team to hate you the rest of the game. So, don't try him off the bat. He's a good hero. Just don't try him off the bat. That's all I have to say. Watch Kabop play, who is now on MTW. Watch him play, because that's pretty much all he plays. Watch him play Earthshaker. You'll get a good feel for how to use that hero. I'll say that.
Kabop is a good segue into what I'm going to surprise you with. What the nuts? Back again. Because it's that awesome.
We need a little clip there.
Oh, I'm telling you all right now, right? I'm making T-shirts for What the Nuts. I got the plan in my head. I just gotta draw it out in Adobe Illustrator, and it's gonna be fantastic. And maybe we'll be nice enough to give some away. in the future, just out there. But yeah, oh man, by far my favorite segment, and we're having it. Deal with it, because Kabop actually one of the cool things in Game 1 of MTW versus Empire, which happened recently. He winds up going for Heaven's Halberd.
Oh, right. That really confused the heck out of me.
Yeah. Picks it up against Anti-Mage, which I think is important. But yeah, I mean, what do you think about that pickup?
It really boggles my mind. I'm not saying it's a bad pickup by any means, but, like, to get it on him? Really? Like, okay, obviously it gives damage and strength, which is more damage. Evasion, so I'm sure there was some kind of hard carry on the other team.
Anti-Mage.
Evasion very good against Anti-Mage, absolutely no question there. And then the Maim, I mean, meh, that can kind of be debatable if that's a good ability to have or not. And you're saying, okay, I'm sorry, just to triple check, you're saying this is on Tidehunter, right?
It's on Crystal Maiden.
Shut up. Tidehunter.
Yes,
right?
Tidehunter.
Okay. I'm not that slow. But I want to make sure if I like about the spiel about it. Tidehunter already has a slow, so I don't really care about the Maim that much. But, regardless, Disarm, huge help against Anti-Mage. So that can definitely make a lot of sense, you know, making him so he can't attack for 3 seconds in a team fight, you know. I can definitely, and especially since, you know, Tidehunter is always generally in the middle of the fight, just because if he wants to get in placement for that ultimate, he should have no trouble using it on wherever Anti-Mage is attacking someone in the fight. He should probably be there in some degree anyways, as opposed to like a ranged hero that's like all the way in the back trying to snipe people, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it was really interesting, but when I was like, yeah, oh, that's awesome, I really like it. I mean, the point in the game where he was able to pick it up, it was kind of after Anti-Mage had, I guess, I don't want to say for sure, but he had this big item, whether that was, I think Mana Styles probably. So it wasn't like a point where he was going to go MKB just to counter it on Tidehunter. So Tidehunter with Kraken Shell is already getting damage reduction from Anti-Mage's auto attacks. And now he has a chance to evade any kind of mana burn, and then of course damage from other heroes as well. So really nice all around. I mean, it's more health as well, like you were saying, and more damage. And yeah, you do have the Gush slow, but now you can, when you're done using Gush and your Anchor Smash and your Ravage, I want to say Rupture for some reason. After Ravage,
Fraud.
you might as well pick somebody else and start auto attacking. I mean, why not? And maybe you can slow them down and, you know, maybe help one of your other teammates get away potentially, or, you know, keep somebody in range to get WTF pwned.
Well, see, this kind of brings me back to the days of when Tidehunter was kind of played as a carry instead of, not like a hard carry, but he got a lot of farm, and he would go just wrecking people's faces with his auto attacks. But that was back when Anchor Smash was a chance on hit to do AoE damage around you, and that's all it was. But yeah, like I said, it was a chance on hit, so people build him DPS, give him attack speed, like a Hyperstone, and go crazy like Assault Carius and go just nuts on him and just AoE the whole team fight, and then maybe sometimes even build like a Battle Fury. It was just hilarious to watch him just like constantly spinning around. And also in Dota 1, if every hero had like a extra attack animation, and that was for either critting or doing some kind of special attack, well, if you got a Battle Fury, every attack was the special attack. So you would just see him constantly doing what looked like Anchor Smashes, even if they weren't, just because he had the Battle Furies. You never knew if he was doing a big Anchor Smash hit or just a regular hit. He was just going crazy, and it was awesome. But since they obviously changed Anchor Smash to be practical as a support role, whatever stupid reason that was, I mean, why do you care about 40% damage reduction? Does that really affect the outcome of a fight?
Stupid. Who wants to counter Broodmother when you can just, you know...
Chance on hit to counter Broodmother.
I mean, the other thing, I was thinking, like, what other items would we expect to see at this point? I mean, nobody really goes blank on Tidehunter anymore. They're just content with letting him walk in and ulti. It's something he can do pretty easily because of Kraken Shell. So the only other thing I would think of that you would pick up to counter an auto attack hero like Anti-Mage would be something like Shiva's Guard. Shiva's Guard is actually more expensive than Heaven's Halberd. Shiva's Guard is 4,700 gold versus the 3,950 of Heaven's Halberd. And yeah, the int's nice, I guess, but that's not your primary stats. Not making you any more tanky. I really think I like the utility and the actual stats that Heaven's Halberd gives you over the Shiva's Guard. Of course, you're losing the AoE slow and the AoE damage, but I think it's a worthwhile trade.
I mean, I was gonna say Diffusal Blade, but
No, of course.
no, I mean honestly, I don't know. Like if he's getting a lot of the farm, it wouldn't necessarily be a terrible thing to go maybe an assault carriers depending on your team. I mean, it's, like I said, that's not going to counter him or anything, but it is going to provide armor for your team a little bit, give that attack speed for team fights. And I mean, he's going to benefit from attack speed. Any hero does. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking to build that more to counter anti-mage instead of to just provide team buffs, yeah, I definitely would agree. That's probably the best option of all the options to go, and it's a lot cheaper. It's like 1,500 gold cheaper than a lot of these other items.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually looking through trying to figure out like what else would be good for against a hard carry that's in that price range. I think Heaven's Halberd
in that price range, heck no. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only a couple. There's like Sheepstick and Heaven's Halberd, and and Abyssal Blade, which is like $7,000.
Yeah.
Is that the most expensive item in the game besides Divine Rapier? Oh, it's more expensive than Divine
It's actually
Rapier.
more expensive than
Well,
Rapier.
Okay. Don't build that.
It might be.
It is.
Huh. Yeah.
It definitely used to be Divine Rapier when it was 3 weapons, but then they made it down to 2, so...
There you go. Boom. Food for thought. I guess the next thing in my little crazy segment that I sprung on you, Jay, Lena got picked up.
Oh,
My
first
my
hero.
redheaded friend.
Now, did she play as well as I did? That's the question.
I don't remember.
Probably not. Safely say that.
Probably. What do you think about Lena just in general? Because I did a lot to look through that Zeus stuff, and this is really kind of a last-minute decision of mine to spring what the nuts out.
Yeah, it was.
So I can't really, So I can't. I don't like have.
Okay, we
the
don't
game
share with each other what we're going to talk about until it starts, so.
It's organic and beautiful.
Mostly.
So, I mean, what do you think about Lena being picked up in the competitive scene? Because she was also picked up, again like Zeus, in the backwards draft tournament as well. So, is she good? Is she bad? Is she indifferent?
No, she was picked up as support?
Yes.
Okay. Because you can play her as a solo mid, so, it's debatable. But, regardless, I don't like it one bit. That's my first simple answer. I don't like it one bit at all. I guess the reasons being, so basically she's just a big AoE bot with a big powerful nuke. That's kind of how I see her. And the reason I don't like her compared to other supports, now as a solo mid that's a different story. I might like her in solo mid role, but as a support, she only brings the stun and a big nuke. That's all she has. Whereas you look at other things, other people, and it's not even a guaranteed stun. So she pretty much, unless she's really good or really easy setup, she'd kind of have to follow some other kind of slower stun to really make sure she lands hers. It's definitely not an easy task. It used to be, and it's funny, I keep going back to Heroes of New Earth, but they changed their version of, they had Pyromancer, which is the same thing. But instead of Fiery Soul, which is her passive that gives attack speed and movement speed when she casts spells, Pyromancer got decreased cast time on all his spells. As a passive. So, he was able to cast that stun really fast when he maxed that out. Whereas her, it's the same cast time regardless throughout the whole game. So it's definitely not an easy thing to land. And while I do think it's effective, because it is an AoE stun that does high damage, and Dragonslave, her conal nuke, does also good damage, I just don't see her being a useful support. I feel like a support should really bring CC, that's like the primary thing. Supports, I think, give good CC. That's just like their role for my ideal thing. And like team fight control. And I don't think she really she just brings straight up damage. So unless you're building a team that's like, we're just going to bring on the pain in team fights and hope that's enough, like, I don't think she fits in at all.
Yeah, she's Lion-esque, sort of, because she has an ability similar to Finger of Death and Laguna Blade. So if she can land that stun, she has that utility, and she can burn somebody down really quickly. I'm not sure which game, if it was in the backwards draft tournament or if it was in the game she was actually picked up. But yeah, hero teleports in. It's her and one other hero there. Her her ultimate is the second nuke dropped on the hero to get it low, but not so low as to kill it, so that one of the other heroes can actually take the last hit, which is where she's useful in that. And of course, I mean the movement speed from Fiery Soul is kind of nice because it allows you to catch up a little bit and then maybe land your Light Striker array, where in other situations the hero might just be able to outrun it because of the cast time. But yeah, I don't know. I really wish I had remembered if she won or not. That would probably be helpful to the argument, but it's organic and beautiful.
Keep telling yourself.
So there you go. Yeah. So what did you think about the backward draft tournament? I guess that's kind of the what the nuts of tournaments.
I really thought it was an awesome concept. Initially, when I found out about it, it was actually called the ATOD tournament, and I was like, "What does that stand for?" I have no idea. And then I realized, I'm like, "What? DOTA is the backwards version of that." You just see a rainbow shooting across the sky, like, I did it. The idea, the concept is just so neat, and I think that should become like a weekly thing where they pay. Maybe they don't even play for money. I don't care why they do it, but these like high tier teams just do these awesome backwards drafts, and the reason is, I think it's like kind of forcing these teams to come up with ways to win with these heroes that are definitely not normally played, and maybe see if they can bring some good out of it. And like, oh wait a second, I forgot that Spirit Breaker can actually kill everyone. Maybe we should start using them in lineups. Like, I don't know. Like, I just really thought it was interesting. Do you want to go over the core concept of it?
Yeah. So basically, what would happen is, I guess at the end of the day, when you were banning, you were trying to ban out heroes that you did not want to play with. Because what would happen is a team would pick heroes for the opposite team to actually play. So they would do the ban and the pick phases, and then they would quit the game, come back in an all pick, and then pick the heroes that the other team had chosen. So kind of the theme of the whole thing wound up being that people would pick heroes with poor CC, or CC that's hard to land, or heroes that don't have CC at all, like Zeus, for instance. So yeah, we saw Spirit Breaker, which was crazy. We saw Lena, Zeus, Kunkel was picked up. I'm trying to think who else was kind of big.
For some reason.
Morphling, Ancient Apparition, who, and some of these heroes, like Zeus used to be picked up from time to time. Actually, I'm talking about episode 6. He was on the MTW lineup that actually did something. They had that one like crazy game where they had to do it in a certain amount of time, or was that the retry? I don't know what's going on. It's a retry.
Yes.
MTW. Was it?
I'm just saying yes, so you move on.
MCW, because Cinderin was on Night Stalker and he picked up Heal Scepter Divinity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so obviously Ancient Apparition was picked up in the International and tournaments after that, but just not so much anymore.
No.
So, but what was really cool, I think, when like Toby and Cinderin were talking, Toby would like take these like little stabs, especially like Spirit Breaker, and then just Cinderin talking about his mentality when they were trying to figure out who to pick for their team. They would like think of these heroes they thought were like great heroes to pick for the ops team, and they'd really think through all their abilities and be like, those heroes are actually really good for this kind of lineup, And then when Toby was trying to take these little stabs at Spirit Breaker, Cinderin's kind of like, well, look, he's got this somewhat global presence. He can charge across the map and initiate really well. His ulti can stop someone, or can displace somebody who has BKB active. So heroes like Enigma, who are channeling the ultimate, he can ulti him and knock him out of that and cancel the ultimate.
Right.
And then, of course, he can do a ton of damage because of the bash, and then, of course, the bash is really good for locking down a hero, so you could go after a hard carry, let's say, and do a good amount of damage to them and stop them from being able to tear apart people. So he actually isn't as bad as we kind of stigmatize these heroes to be just because they're not picked up in the professional lineup. It's more like these heroes are so niche or so specific, are good in certain lineups that aren't popular, that's why they're not being seen. It's not because these heroes are bad per se.
No, Alchemist is bad. I know we had an argument off the air about that, and I don't want to bring it on to our fans, but he is bad. Anyways,
I was actually thinking Phantom Lancer might be another hero who's like maybe not like good. Like I don't know if it's bad.
For pushing.
Yeah, I guess, but I think
although you can't get procs off towers, but you just kill the creep wave before the tower, and then you kill everything with your images. He's really strong for pushing. Anyways,
yeah.
let me just say my two things. First of
Yeah.
all, you forgot to mention that each team had to pick at least one strength, one agility, one intellect. So it couldn't be like 5 int lineup or anything. It had to be at least one of each of those. And then also, Drow was played as support in that game.
Oh yeah.
So that was definitely different
That's
than
pretty
you would
different,
think normally. Maxing out those frost arrows to keep the slow CC going. That kind of thing. It was a Drow with Morphling lane, which was just silly. I don't know why they gave Morphling away, which was just silly to me, but especially because he's like one of the most popular carries in the current meta. But I guess they were like, what's the worst he's gonna do? Warlock was also given away, which is interesting because I find him to be a really strong hero personally. Like that, so much teamfight presence he brings to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, that was kind of interesting as well. So,
Yeah, the other thing I forgot to mention too was Outworld Destroyer was picked up with Kunkka, and so they were able to do the exact same thing that people were doing with
yes.
Shadow Demon and Kunkka, which I thought was interesting because we've had Outworld Destroyer this for a while now, but nobody had really come up with that combo. But now we actually got to see it because this team was forced to play that way. And the really cool thing, and like, the Spirit Breaker was actually pretty dominant in his game. He wound up losing at the end, but it's neat to force people who are playing at this level to play with these heroes that they might not pick, even in pubs, and get to see them try and think through it. And then maybe, who knows, at the end of the day, maybe they're like, oh crap, this hero is actually pretty good. I think I know a lineup we can run and try and bring him into it. So I think it's really cool just to get them to sort of flex their mind muscle, is to wrap around these heroes that they're not maybe used to thinking about in that kind of setting.
They're getting their workout all right, because most
Yes.
gamers don't. But I guess. Yeah, so definitely a cool thing. Like I said, I hope they can see those keep going. I would even like to participate in one of those. I think that'd be awesome. Just fun to be a part of. I mean, maybe we'll host some down the road if we get enough viewers. Do some little ATOD matches going.
There you go.
Or no, we'll do a backwards version of ours, so it'll be DOD.
Wait, what are those called? What's the...
When they're backwards?
Yeah. They're saying forward is backwards. It's some crazy word.
Palindrome?
Palindrome, yes.
Did that come from my brain? I don't even know. I must have stolen
You
that from
had to have a
someone.
flashcard.
I did.
There's no
I'm
way.
holding it actually down here, so palindrome. I can throw that one out now. I have like 50 different ones with words on it, and I just wait to pull them out.
There you go. You shuffle through them. Every sentence you say, you have to use the word that's on the card, and then you flip to the next card.
Oh, it's like that Whose Line Is It
Awesome.
Anyways thing. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah.
Where they had to use a line every time in their conversation from the audience.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I missed that show.
There you go. So you know what? Since I got to spring that on you, if you have anything random you'd like to spring, you'd like to have sprung.
Do I?
You'd like to sprunk?
Sprunk. Is that like stronk?
No, sprink. Enchantress.
So, I was thinking about this board game concept.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
No. Trading card game. That I got for
I'm
you.
not even going there
there.
because I don't want to hear your lousy idea. Oh, no, I do have a crazy one. Ha! Alright,
Oh.
here we go. Let's say that you had an option to create an upgraded item named after you. What would it do? And it can't be imbalanced. It has to like try to be balanced. There you go. There's a sprunk. I love that facial expression. You're stumped. But that's a good question.
It is.
I can tell you mine if you don't know.
Yeah, okay. If I could have a hero made for me, it would be...
Alright, fine.
be
Let's
Rook.
do hero. We'll do item next week or something. Go ahead, hero.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It would be Rook.
So
It would be
BDLM
Rook.
is Rook.
Yeah.
But you're called
So-
BDLM, so go ahead. What is BDLM?
Alright.
The Rook. That's your title, the Rook. What do you do?
Okay.
It's like The Rock. You're kind of like a wrestler.
Do you smell what the Rook is cooking?
That would be awesome for a line. Yes.
Alright, so taking the demigod thing... Oh, by the way, in the Join Dota talks, they brought up demigod, which we did so last week, and they brought up Heroes New Earth names. Puppy did.
They
which
are
we also
so 2000 and late. I don't know what they're doing
legit.
over
Oh man, it's nice to know that they watch. But anyway,
there.
so taking Rook's moves from Demigod and putting them into the Dota format, right? So you have one ability that is a stun, and it's like Marana Arrow basically. So you have to, if it hits, it's a projectile. You get it. Okay. Second move is sort of like Ursa's clap Q, his Q. So it's like it has a cast time, probably longer than his actual Earth Shock is, but that does a stun and damage. You can say it does a fair amount of damage because it's probably like a second and a half channel maybe to do this in a moderate area. Nothing like, I keep want to call it Rupture, Ravage. Ugh. Nothing like Ravage, but in a fair area around him. His third ability would be the shoulder thing, and it would work like the visual in Demigod worked. So the whole thing with his shoulder tower, it was like the rank 1, it did like annoyer damage, didn't really do anything. Hit like a target every half second for like 30 damage, 20 damage, something like that.
Yeah, really low.
Yeah. Rank 2 was a tower that would only attack one target. I think it prioritized heroes if it was in range. The third rank was a trebuchet that had like sniper take aim range, and it would only attack towers. And then the fourth rank would make the rank 1 arrows slow. His ultimate would be to make towers that have decent amount of health, but you can't tell them they're indefinite, but they give a large reward if you kill them. And you can only put, like, I guess, one per level? That sounds fairly decent. So rank 1. Okay, but anyway, so the really cool thing, too, that I loved about Rook and Demigod was the way the tower attack animation worked. There was, like, a beam of light that came from the throne, would cross the tops of all the towers, and then shoot to the target. So if you were a Rook, the rank 2 of your shoulder thing would chain together with this. So if Rook was in range of a tower, the beam of light would go to Rook's shoulder thing, and then it would go to the target. So if the towers are giving like a slight increase in damage, I think that's awesome, because now you have a hero that interacts with the towers on the map. Awesome. And then also his towers that he built would chain together as well. So if any of those towers attacked, they would feed from the other towers. They could also connect to the base towers as well. So if it gives 5 more damage, let's say, per tower, there's really kind of some urgency in protecting your outer towers, because the outer towers mean more jumps from other towers. So your tower's doing more damage, or shoulder tower's doing more damage. And of course this is also something you could really use. The ultimate would be really good for sort of doing what Veenomancer's wards do, and sort of making that little mini fortress, that little outpost that you can kind of keep the creeps in one area. But of course, if you're putting these permanent or semi-permanent structures down that have a really high bounty on them, you have to really be careful about where you're placing them. So I think that would actually be really cool and awesome.
It would be a super long cooldown, though.
Sure.
I mean, you can't be putting high bounty things down a lot and farming creeps with them. And
to balance,
could you put
right?
that in the jungle, just farm neutrals when you pull them to There you go. Get a Helmet Dominator, pull stacks into your tower, and just farm creeps.
It'd be hilarious. I don't know. This, of course, would all be the balance. I would just want the core ideas to be there. And because I think it's really neat, though, at the end of the day, to have a hero that interacts with the base and the base towers, and then also to have your hero interact with its pets specifically. So, like I said, if you built one tower, the shot would go from, and you were near it, your shoulder shot would add damage to your tower shot, and vice versa. So, I think that'd be neat. Anyway, go ahead, sir.
Very interesting.
No, it is.
Well, I have a lot of... I don't know if I have a hero in mind, but I have mechanics that I like in other games or other things that I think would be really cool to be brought to Dota 2. So I'm just going to kind of mention those. I don't think they'd all go on the same hero, because that'd be a really weird hero. But regardless, so I was thinking, and I really like... there's a hero in League of Legends called Fiora, and she has an ability, I think it's called either Riposte or Parry, or something like that. But basically what she does, she activates it, and it only is 2 seconds. And if in that 2 seconds she's attacked, or a spell is cast on her, she reflects. I think it's either like a flat amount of damage, so she doesn't take the damage. Instead, she does damage to that person. It's kind of like in Heroes New Earth Nomad, the same thing with his ultimate, where he uses it. It's a very short duration, but if something happens to him in that duration, he like reflects it and doesn't move. I'd say Nomad's a better version of it in Heroes New Earth, if you know who I'm talking about.
Is it also similar to Nerubian's Assassin's new move called Spiked Carapace, in which it prevents and reflects 100% of damage and stuns for 0.6 up to 2.4 seconds?
No. Alright, well, you know what? When I played that hero back in the day, you know what? Then I'm happy that mechanic's in there. Because they thought of it for me. Alright? No. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
well, I like that move then. Fine. I'm going to skip that one. I think
Yeah,
that's a
they
cool move, though. I will say that's a cool move.
Yeah, and they took the Crypt Swarm off of Nerubian Assassin, and they're using it for a future hero. So,
Oh.
very neat.
Oh, that's true. I remember reading that as well.
Yeah.
Alright.
Well, apparently not.
Well, let's see if
but-
they have this one, Mr. Smarty Pants.
Alright.
Oh, there actually is ability similar to this, but I like this mechanic in particular. You know what? I asked you the question. I didn't think I actually had to answer it myself, so, whatever.
Well, give me your item then if you want. And then next week, you tell me your hero, and I'll tell you my
We're
item.
going to stick with it, because I
Fine,
don't want to
go
think
ahead.
about this later. So, I think it'd be cool to have an ability where you chain multiple heroes together, and it does damage to them over time until they split far enough apart from each other. Then that's when it stops doing damage, but then maybe there's like a mini stun or something at the end of that snap. So it's kind of like, imagine Puck's ultimate, but it's just cast on maybe 2 heroes or something, or it's multiple targets. I don't know what the deal is, but it's cast on multiple units, and then they have to spread apart from not the orb, but from each other a certain distance to end the damage that's dealing over time. I think that'd be a neat mechanic.
It's very Empath from Heroes of New Earth / Mother Shaz from World of Warcraft.
I was thinking Mother Shaz, exactly. That's what I was thinking of. I'm like, I remember people having so many issues communicating, like, you go that way, I go this way. Oh no, we're still all together. Oh, we're dead. Like,
Go left, I'll go right. No, you're on the left. Oh god.
but regardless, I think that'd be cool. And then my ultimate would just be a huge nuke.
You're a huge
No,
joke.
the reason is I'm J4Y the KSer. That'd be my title. So you have to have
like
a move that KSs. Otherwise, what's the point? Oh, and then his Q, when he uses it on a hero, it steals gold.
Not even
I
trying
actually got that.
anymore, are you?
I'm not at all. I'm trolling. This is trolling. It's different than trying. It's a version of trying, but less trolly. All right. So I actually got that one. No,
It doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't make any at all.
It's trolling. It's trolling, but less trolling.
Brought to you by. So there was this League of Legends. I know I bring League of Legends up too much, but the point is, it's a part of mobile life. So there's a thread about what would be an example of an unfun hero to play against. And there was this guy made where, but all his moves did something with the enemy's gold. So it was like Q does damage and steals some gold. B. I don't know what hotkeys you got set up over there. You got some crazy hotkeys. Another one's like it does a damage over time. If not, or if it like kills the person, they lose a flat amount of gold. Like everything was like losing gold related. It was like the next time that hero dies, in the next 30 seconds, they lose double gold or something. It was just like, this is the rudest hero I've ever heard of. Like, yeah, no one would ever want to play against him.
Does damage equal to the amount of gold you have on you.
That actually could be that'd be a terrible move. Or
Yeah, that'd
the
be
amount
weird.
of gold you've lost this game. Supports would just get insta-gift. Especially you.
Yeah.
There's my hero. It's J4Y, the KSer. I hope he gets, introduced sometime in the near future.
Dude, I take Bedlam the Fortress for my my hero name. That'd be
Fine.
mine. Yeah.
That's fine.
There you go.
You can have it.
I think
And he can already have a skin that's like a football player. And he sets up mini footballs instead of towers.
what is wrong with you?
I don't know.
They're goalposts. He puts up like the end zone
Oh, yes.
goalposts.
There it is. See, you're on board now.
God.
You get it.
Oh, he has one on his shoulder. That's the shoulder mount. And it's a little slingshot for when it's the
Oh my god.
tower catapult thing. Oh man.
Wow, we're good at
That's
this.
great and terrible.
Great
Great
and terrible at the
things
same time.
that happen on this podcast show thing we call Dota On Demand. I think we're
wrapping it up since that last creative bit that you caught me completely off guard with.
Yeah.
It turned into some ideas. Some may have been less
can have 'em,
trolly
Ice
than
Frog.
others. Some may have already been in the game and we didn't realize it till just now. But
Just a couple.
hey, it's not in the game yet. That's my point. Alright,
Alright.
if Nerubian Assassin was in the game... Well, she's not going to be called Nerubian. What's he going to be called? His crazy
according to-
name?
Well, see, Dota 2 Wiki in their unreleased content page, because apparently I really like plugging that website, they have him called Nyx Assassin, NYX.
Huh.
So, I don't know, he might just be called Assassin, since Nerubian Weaver is just called Weaver.
Assassin? That's so lame. He can't be just
know.
called Assassin. No. I was about to say, is he from Egypt? But I'm glad I didn't.
Why?
You said six.
Why?
You said, didn't you say like Six Assassin? Styx Assassin?
Nyx.
Nyx. Oh, see, I was thinking of the River Styx.
That's not...
That's not even Egypt. This
Anyway,
is why we're
thanks for
wrapping
joining
this
us
up.
on this episode 21 of Dota On Demand.
Everyone knows I'm
everybody.
kidding around, so
Yeah,
that's on purpose. So
Yeah. Keep sending us your questions. Of course, keep watching. We are going to keep releasing new, awesome content. So please be on the lookout for that.
do not.
we
I was going to say,
will- what?
do not ask geography questions. Whatever you do, that is all I have to say. Thank you. That's my 2 cents.
Yes. But we will see you guys next week for another podcast. Talk to you guys later.